Judge Price has been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Miss Lampert, you were having a romantic relationship with the defendant's husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
I assume this was the husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
This was about a year ago.
A little over a year, yes, ma'am.
Miss Kedward lost it with you one day, came to where you were staying, and assaulted you.
Yes, Your Honor.
She admits that she assaulted you. She also admits that she pled guilty to a simple assault, and she received a fine. Her defense to your action for damages for both your medical bills and your pain and suffering is that you weren't injured. She is counterclaiming for her medical bills, she says, because you've caused her a lot of stress. When did you meet Miss Kedward's husband?
About July 9th of 2005
Where?
at my mother's house.
What relationship does he have with your mother?
They're the next door neighbors to my mom.
Please like,
Were
follow,
they
and
both
subscribe.
living together at the time?
Yes, they were.
Well, when did you start a relationship with Mr. Kedward?
After he told me that he had asked Tammy for a divorce.
But they were still together.
Sort of, kind of.
They were still living on.
They were living, yes.
Big mistake on your part. Big. When did you start the relationship?
What exact date
Yeah.
that it turned romantic
Yes.
was August 28th of 2005.
So it didn't take long. Now, when did Miss Kedward assault you?
On August 31st.
Tell me about it.
I was over visiting my mother. My car was parked in the back driveway. She came over and spray painted my car with some obscenities and bright orange paint. I saw her do it. We went back inside to call the police. She knocked on the front door, asked me to come outside. My mother came outside with me. She was yelling all kinds of profanities. And
That's not true.
And I was standing between her and my mother tried to explain some stuff to her, and I was looking at my mother. She reached over, grabbed the back of my hair, yanked me on the ground. She jumped on top of me, punched me, blood went everywhere. Meanwhile,
Punched you where?
in the nose, and then punched me again in the cheek. Meanwhile, my mother managed to pull her off of me, and my 82-year-old grandmother was standing on the porch calling the police.
And you were arrested?
No.
Taken into custody?
No.
Did you press charges?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Miss Kedward. Why don't you tell me what happened on the 31st of August?
I drove up from work. I got out of the car, and she came out of her mother's house and said
That is
something.
not, Your Honor.
Listen to me. I cut her off when she interrupted you. Don't speak until she's finished. Go ahead.
I got out of the car, and she came out of the front door and said something that I didn't understand what it was that she said. Nevertheless, she said something. And I just went inside, and I called my husband, told my husband that she was saying something to me.
But you didn't know what?
I didn't know what. It was
Well,
something.
why would you, just a second, Miss Kedward, why would you call your husband if she said something that you didn't understand?
Because I had found out 3 days prior that there was something going on between them.
Okay, did you confront your husband with it?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me the truth. He told me that they were having a relationship, but that it was more as a friend relationship, that he didn't say that it was not intimate. He just told me that basically they had been doing a lot of talking on the phone.
So when you came home on the 31st and you claim Miss Lampert said something to you, called your husband, and your husband said what?
He said, look, I don't know what's going on. Why don't you just go over there and talk to her about it, and y'all figure it out, and then you call me.
Is that
and
what
tell
you
me
said
the
to
truth."
her? Why don't you just go over there and ask her? Just that's either a yes or no.
Yes.
That was the first time that I ever thought of going over there.
So your cheating husband tells you to go over to the woman's house and to talk it out with her,
Yes.
and you'd listen to him.
Well, it's not that I listened to him. It's more that I thought, go over there. Sounds like a great idea. Why don't I just go over there and find out exactly what she said? And it was probably not the greatest decision in the world. But
Well, first thing that you did, you went over and you sprayed her car because that you paid for, right?
Yes,
So you painted her car before you went to ask her
correct.
what she had said that you didn't hear.
Right.
And then what happened?
I went over and
You sprayed her car.
I sprayed her car, went back inside, and
Back inside where?
my house.
What happened to speaking to her and about finding out what happened?
That was after.
So then you came out again, worked up a really good mad.
I was infuriated, to say the least.
Fine. So you came
I
out.
had asked her numerous times, very nicely, please leave my husband alone.
Why didn't you ask him?
I asked him.
So,
but
and
in
what
fact,
did he say?
She was the instigator.
Stand up. How tall are you?
6'3",
How much do you weigh?
260,
What do you do for a living?
mechanic.
Strong?
I guess so.
Can you walk around?
Yes.
You can walk away from her, can't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down. Get what I mean? Shh. Get what I mean?
Ma'am, I do. And
Yeah, listen. There's only one person that owes you the responsibility and the respect and has taken a vow.
You're exactly right.
That's him,
You're right.
not her.
I felt like if she had any compassion or any feeling that she would have backed off and she would have had respect, at least for my child.
He's
And
supposed to have respect for your child,
I understand that.
not her. He.
I truly believe that he did make a bad decision.
Right. But
She
so why
was
did you
the
go
one-
over? So you went over there, you assaulted her, and you lost it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, then you have to suffer for that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You say I'm strong physically. What about mentally when you have a woman like this calling you all the time and not leaving you alone?
You don't really want an answer to that question, sir.
And later today,
You have a car now, Miss Enslin?
Do I have a car?
That's my question. Do you have a car now?
Yes, I have a car now.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Marcia Lambert claims her mother's neighbor, Tammy Kedward, owes for spray painting vulgarities onto her car and punching her in the face. Tammy claims Marcia was sleeping with her husband. She is countersuing for emotional distress.
Okay, Miss Kedward. What kind of consequence did the criminal justice system impose when you pled guilty to assault?
I had a fine of $341 and a Class C misdemeanor.
Tell me about the surgery that you had 3 months later.
I had actually 2 surgeries to try to correct. I was having trouble breathing through the right side of my nose.
Can I
Can
see
I
the
add
medical report?
something,
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor?
Yeah.
She told my husband, he asked her the next day after the assault, "Are you okay?" And she told him, "It's no big deal. The same thing happened to me about a year ago when a girl hit me in a bar."
Okay.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Shh, just a second. Let's say that's true. What difference it make?
So what's to say if she had any surgeries that it wasn't to correct what had
I don't know
happened
what she
then?
wants.
It's possible it was. That doesn't leave
I'm
you.
not sure
That doesn't.
exactly what she
Shh,
wants.
quiet. That doesn't let you off the hook.
I
She
understand.
doesn't have to sue for any medical expenses. She can just sue for pain and suffering.
I understand.
Good.
Start with a 50% deposit bonus. Increase your investing power with Pocket Broker. 100 plus investing assets. Instant top up and withdrawal with no fees.
Okay, so the first study date in the emergency room was September 1st, and it did say previous surgical changes are noted. Okay, so you had previous surgeries in your nose. Is that right?
From 92.
Okay, good. Now, after this happened on August 31st, did you continue a relationship with Mr. Kedward?
Yes, I did.
For how long?
It actually ended August 1st of 2006.
I don't think that's true, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
that's a bunch of bull.
Now, you were at my mother's house?
Shh, shh, shh. Listen to me. Whether it lasted 9 months or 10 months or 12 months, it doesn't make any difference. It lasted beyond that. Was Mr. Kedward living with his wife during that time?
He went back to her the end of November of 2005.
Okay, but you continued the relationship
Right.
with him
Right,
months after that.
right.
Not smart. What was he telling you all this time?
Just that he wasn't sure what he wanted and that they had a lot to work out if it was going to work and that he still loved me and he always would.
Well, Miss Lambert, why did you continue the relationship with him?
It's
Madam,
not the first time she's done this. I'm sorry.
takes 2 to tango.
Yes, ma'am.
His feet work in both directions. If he's back with you and sweet-talking her, that's not a good
Thing about it is, Your Honor, you say I'm strong physically. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. You know, what about mentally when you have a woman like this calling you all the time and not leaving you alone? Yay. Hey,
You don't really want an answer to that question, sir.
Well.
You don't want an answer to that question, Mr. Kedward.
When I asked Miss Lambert to leave my husband alone, my words to her were, "For God's sakes, Marcia, I live next door to your mother. Please just stop."
She used very bad judgment.
She told me that she would be living next door to her mother.
Miss Kedward,
That's a lie.
she used very bad judgment, especially after he came home in November.
He never
To live with
really
you.
left home.
Don't tell me he never really left home. Stop moving around. You're making me seasick. Still,
Yes, ma'am.
he exercised very bad judgment. He's trying to tell me is he may be strong physically, but mentally he's mush. That's just an excuse. What he's trying to say is, how can I withstand the wiles of Jezebel? That's ridiculous. If
That
you
was
bought it,
that was not what
quiet.
I was saying.
Quiet. There are all kinds of temptations in this world, madam. And you hope that when you marry somebody, that they're going to be able to withstand the temptations. And if they can't, it's their fault. It's not somebody else's fault. In any event, she's suing you for $4,000.
Yes, ma'am.
That, she said, represents her medical bills. You are clearly responsible for that. I want to hear about your counterclaim. You have 1 minute.
I went to the hospital that night and was in the hospital for 2 days following. I was extremely stressed out over the whole situation. I asked her repeatedly to leave my husband alone. She told me she would do what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. And I lost it. And I have to admit that
I'm talking about your
I went to the
counterclaim.
hospital and I was there for 2 days because of the immense stress that this, I don't even want to call her a woman, has put me through, that she continues to put me through to
What
this
about
day.
him? Why don't you sue him?
I married him for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in front of God, in front of all of our friends. And it's my choice to forgive him. And we have been through counseling.
Perfect. Listen to me. He's the one that owes you the responsibility of doing the right
Hate
thing.
me.
Doesn't she owe us to leave us alone?
I have.
Shh.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Outside. Put him out. Okay.
Can I add
I'm
one
gonna.
thing?
Yeah, sure.
I was under so much stress from the immoral actions of this person that I suffered a miscarriage. My child has had to be in counseling. I have had a lot of issues because of her, and to this
Because
day.
of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of them.
She instigated it.
Because you don't get it. You have to put it in your head. He owes you the responsibility of doing the right thing. She doesn't. He has a contract with you, moral contract and a legal contract. He violated the contract, and I would have very little sense of an obligation to mitigate your damages if Miss Lambert did not continue the relationship after November, when she knew that the two of you were trying to work things out. Miss Lambert fully understood that. From November until, she says, August of 2006, she continued a relationship with him. That's going to hurt you, Miss Lambert, because then you knew that what you were doing was interfering with a relationship. There is a cause of action. It's a cause of action in common law called alienation of affection. That means you are contributing to alienating the affection of her husband, and you know what that's going to cost you? $4,000. So I rule in your favor on your lawsuit in the amount of $4,000. And I rule in your favor on the counterclaim in the amount of $4,000. Neither one of you are getting anything. That's it. Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Party's ours. You may step out.
My husband was at fault for what he did.
I was too gullible to understand and see it then.
I can't help the fact that she went totally psycho.
She continued to try to alienate our marriage.
No, he continued to see me. On August 1st of 2006, he came to my mother's house at lunchtime, and we had a luncheon.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mooney versus Enslin. Step forward, please.
Ian Mooney is suing his ex-girlfriend, Erin Enslin, for money owed on a lease for a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Erin says the lease is Ian's responsibility.
Mr. Mooney, this is your former girlfriend. You leased a car together. You got another car. Miss Enslin said that she would take over the lease payments on the car. She did. You broke up. She took the car with her. She drove the car for a considerable period of time. The lease was about to be up. The payoff was too much. She said, you can have the car back. I don't want it. You were forced to pay the payout on the lease, which, according to your complaint, was about $5,000. Miss Enslin says it was your car. It's your problem. That's your defense.
Yes.
When was the car leased?
October 6th of 2001, and it was leased by myself and Aaron.
And how long did you drive the car together?
Until, I believe, February of 04. Aaron had found employment, and basically we agreed that I would get another car in my name, and Aaron would take over the Eclipse and make the payments.
And you did that?
Yes.
For how long?
The lease was up 2006 October. I called him a few times a couple months before saying that I couldn't afford the car. It was really breaking me. So obviously there was no way I was going to be able to pay it off. And he just refused to take it off of me.
But you had an agreement with him, Miss Henslin.
Yeah, as long as I'm driving the car, I'll pay for it. There were times where I called and said, I don't want it. I don't want to drive it. It was never discussed of bringing back the lease and me paying it off.
Well, what did you
I'm not
expect to
even
happen?
on the lease.
Miss Henslin.
I'm a co-signer for the loan.
Correct.
I'm not on the title of the car. It's
But
not
you
my
are
car.
co-signer on the loan, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, you had this car in total. How long, sir?
The full lease, 5 years between the two of us. Aaron had said that she had no intention of keeping the car yet.
I believe she had intention of keeping the car as long as it was just like a
basically,
lease. I'm
sorry.
speaking, Mr.
Apologize.
Lewis. I believe that she had the intention of keeping the car and paying for it until it was no longer advantageous for her. You have a car now, Miss Henslin?
Do I have a car?
That's my question. Do you have a car now?
Yes, I have a car now.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a Dodge Spirit.
What year?
94.
Where did you get it from?
My parents.
Your parents gave it to you as a gift.
Yes.
When did they give it to you as a gift?
October of this year. Last year.
So at about the same time that you said, I can't afford these payments anymore.
At the same time, the lease was up for his car.
The same time the lease was up on a car on which you were a co-signatory.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Can I please see the payout?
This didn't become an issue until there was damage to the car, and basically she'd gone over on the mileage.
How was the car damaged? Miss Henslin, you don't know. How was the car damaged?
There's a scrape on the side of the car.
How did it happen?
I just hit something with it.
Why didn't you fix it?
Because it happened right before the lease was up. And his girlfriend at the time was actually looking into buying it. And her dad owned a garage. So there was a point where we thought that they were going to fix it and buy it and just take it off of whatever she paid for it.
Who do you live with?
My boyfriend.
What kind of work do you do?
Slow melting, smooth coating, long lasting. It could only be Cadbury Dairy Milk.
I'm an assistant.
Assistant what?
Assistant to a businessman.
What kind of business?
He owns a small production company.
You mean theatrical?
No, music.
And what does your boyfriend do, Miss Henslin?
He's a writer.
And what do your parents do?
My mom works in a factory. She's an accountant. And my dad fixes the roads and works for the township.
How old are you, Miss Henslin?
25.
You have to grow up. Stop being a baby. If you have a responsibility, you're supposed to take care of the responsibility. You're not supposed to stick somebody else with your responsibilities. You were going to assume the responsibility on the car until you decided it was too expensive a proposition for you to take it over after the lease. So what? You relied on your parents to treat you like a baby and buy you a car so you can get to and from work and not have to take care of this responsibility. You have to grow up, madam. Judy fades, dumb as forever. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. Case of Desi versus Stroop. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. May be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Desi, you know this young man from high school. Is that right?
Yeah, we dated.
How old are you now?
I'm 19.
What do you do?
I work for my parents as a secretary, but I'm